Hey, greetings everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We're real happy to be here. We just got home last night after a lot of travels throughout the holiday winter season. And some great times with our families and our winter solstice meditation courses, and then we just spent New Year's Eve with the Grateful Dead in San Francisco, and it was so fun. And we're really, really ready to be here and to do this with all of you today. And so we're happy and grateful that you decided to join us as well. And I think this is going to be a really beautiful way to begin our new decade in 2020. And there certainly does seem like there is a sense amongst everyone that this is a big moment in time. This is a big year. And we can feel that. And it's kind of obvious, isn't it, with everything that's going on in our world right now. And more important than ever, to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And specifically, yes, in terms of our health, of course, always so. But also in terms of our joy, and in terms of making sure we're taking care of ourselves and our ability to stay connected to joy and love and clarity. And you know, I was listening to Yogi Bhajan this morning. He was talking about, he said, maturity is the security of your prosperity. And the whole talk he was and that's my mentor, Yogi Bhajan, who is a master of Kundalini Yoga. But his whole talk was on just maturity. A simple thing, you know. But my sense is there's an aspect of it that's spiritual maturity. But I think really what a lot of it is emotional maturity. And our prosperity really, my experience is, rests on the foundation of emotional maturity. And that emotional maturity does develop or is profoundly assisted by these yogic practices in combination with your own intelligence, you know, and because what these practices do, and what we're going to be doing today, and then starting on Sunday is day one of our New Year's Prosperity 40-day challenge, and you're going to get a great taste of it today. And I think you'll, by the end of today's experience, which will probably go, you know, somewhere between 60 to 90 minutes. Who knows? Maybe less. Maybe definitely no more than 90 minutes. I think you'll have a great sense of what it's all about, or at least a good taste of it, and a sense of whether this is something I want to definitely do or not. But what these practices do is give you a sense of what you are, and reconnects you if it's disconnected, or amplifies and nurtures if it's currently connected. Just like, what is that you're all about? You know, what connects you to joy? What connects you to the purpose of your life? And really, that's a big part of, I think, the heart of a prosperous living.
Yeah, we were, like Jaidev was saying, we were at the Grateful Dead shows for the New Year's time, and for my birthday. And I remember the first time that we went to see them together, and, you know, live, because both of us have been listening to them for a long time, since we were little kids. And, you know, I remember the first time I went in there, and this has been a process, and I'm just sharing the process because this has so much to do with prosperity, and that's the reason I'm talking about this, is that we were there and we were like, oh, we don't know about this. That doesn't feel good. Oh, they're not going so deep and blah, blah, blah. Jerry's not there, and all these different things that we were talking about. Jerry Garcia was the lead singer and the lead guitarist of the band, who a lot of people eventually, as the band grew and became bigger and bigger, deemed like a godlike figure, which he did not like. And the band, none of them tried to advertise that or make that the situation, but some of the fans kind of put him in that place. And, so a lot of people were, when the Grateful Dead came back out without Jerry and some new younger members, a lot of people were, kind of grumbly about it, including myself. And then we've been going to the shows to see the new formation of this band for probably 6 years or something now, 5, 6 years since they've been around. And they've gotten better, they've gotten tighter, they've gotten more psychedelic because they're more easily able to go into this really cool psychedelic space, which we really love. And then it was interesting, over the years I've gotten a lot lighter about it, and this time in particular, this New Year's show was a very beautiful show. It was so much fun. They know how to really capitalize on that joy feeling with what they're doing. They really know how to evoke that, not only through the music, but through the way that they hold space, the way that they put things in place for people to enjoy, and just the whole energy of the Grateful Dead is about that deeper sense of joy, and not just the superficial joy, but that deeper sense of joy. That's what that experience is. And so I was setting up this context to share with you about this conversation that I had with a beautiful woman there, and we were talking about, I was just speaking with someone about how much it's been so fun, and she and I we really connect on a deeper level. I feel like we come from the same kind of place, and we were talking about it, and it was kind of easy. I could see us going into this thing about they haven't played any of the deep cuts, and it's been it's just so joyful, and it's great, and it's just like this, but we wanted to, we were talking about going deep and deep and deep and deep, and then we were talking about relationships, and she was sharing with me, a lot of people just once it starts to get hard and you have to get vulnerable, and then it might feel uncomfortable, and things might get a little awkward sometimes in a relationship. People want to dip out. That's the point where people want to dip out, because they don't realize that the fruits come from going through that, and then it gets actually a lot easier. But what it was really showing me in that conversation is, she was like, I just want to, we were talking about it, people just should do the work. We just want to do the work. It's just so much work, and this and that. And in the music, it just needs to go deep. We just need to go deeper. We just need to go deeper. And it was the more that we talked about that, the more that I realized, and Jai Dev and I were talking, prosperity is a sense of depth and connection and joy that doesn't feel like it has to take so much maneuvering and so much work and so much, it takes grit, it takes work. But also prosperity is that place in which you reach where there is an effortless, it becomes effortless, and you're not trying so hard. We're not trying so hard for the relationship to be good. The relationship is already good. The relationship is already deep. The Grateful Dead is already deep. So when they're playing happy, light songs, it's still very deep, because the energy and the underlying current is so deep already. It doesn't mean that all the time it has to be so deep,
No, in fact, because they go happy and light as well, it makes it even deeper.
Yeah, totally. And it's not about a style. It's not like, oh, well, this pop music is happy and light, so it's deep. That's not what we're saying. It's about the tone and the underlying current that is what makes it. And same with the relationship. It's the foundation and the underlying current of the relationship and what the relationship is based on. And the prosperity is the same. It's about your relationship with yourself. And that's your prosperity right there. It's not about how much money that is coming in all the time. That's a form of prosperity, because it's a form of energy flow. But it's not about how shiny I look, or it's not about how amazing I think I am. It's about how good I feel in my own skin, in myself. And that dictates not only my relationship with myself, but that dictates my dialogue with myself. Also, my relationship with other people and my relationship to the universe, to the cosmos. So that's what we're endeavoring to do here, is get really comfortable in our own skin so that we can just magnetize things in an effortless way. Not that we're like, I'm trying to magnetize something, it's going to happen. And that's why we do these practices. We do these practices so we get comfortable in ourselves and we feel more balanced and clear in ourselves. And therefore we're attracting things in our lives that not only make sense, but that feel prosperous. We feel prosperous in that way.
Yeah, it reminds me back to Yogi Bhajan. He used to say that there's two ways of living. He said there's one is where you're going after things, and then the other is when you're allowing things to come to you. And that's what I feel like,
Yes.
Simrit was
Yes.
unpacking really is that second way, which he called the way of the prosperous human, is when you allow things to come to you. Now, of course, it's a little more complicated than that because it does require your effort. Mm-hmm. But the maturity, kind of bringing it full circle here, in terms of both a type of spiritual and emotional maturity, is being able or discovering how, which is a process, and it takes time and practice and lots of
work and grit and all that.
And pain, frankly, because there's a lot of I thought this was the way, and in fact, I was short-sighted, and that may cause me some pain in my life in an infinite variety of fashions. And pain is often our greatest assets because that's what helps us to grow the most and the most clearly. And so that finding that balance between being activated in your purpose, which is really what we could call your service. And doing the hard work, but it's a love affair. And so to find the balance between working and allowing things to come to you, for me, I find that happens when things do become very purpose-oriented, but not just I feel a sense of purpose, but there's also a very intimate connectivity between your mind and then the spirit of life, which includes yourself, capital S, and the spirit of reality, and the energy that emanates and pulsates through all things. And to have that relationship, that's why there's so much emphasis in Kundalini Yoga in putting in your intuitive psyche. Because without that intuitive psyche, which is all this work that we're going to be doing today and throughout these 40 days, profoundly develops the intuitive psyche, which is really synonymous with your meditative mind. That could also be called the third eye. And without that intuitive psyche, which isn't a head thing actually, the activating point for it is right there where the yogis describe where the root of the nose meets your skull bone. That's the activating point, your pituitary gland. But what its effect and its experience is how the head connects to the heart. Because this whole thing has to be a love affair. And just like in the relationship, if that relationship is going to be prosperous, it has to be a foundation of just real love. And that's not romantic love at that point. Romantic love is born out of that in a longer term relationship, in a real love relationship. But love is like you care about that person regardless.
Yeah. I was talking with the same person at the concert about that, and she was talking about the work, and I said, that is really important, and we have definitely put that in, and we continue to put that in, but you get to a point, and this is to me the flow of prosperity, where you get to a point where Jai Davis what I feel like he's talking about here, when you truly want the other person to be happy, you truly care that they're happy, and you want to help them to enjoy themselves more, to be more happy, to enjoy life, and to feel their joy more, no matter if that feels a little uncomfortable to you because maybe they're traveling more than you'd like them to, or, we both do that, or whether it's, something that they, that that you don't want to do, but that fills them up, or it's that maybe they don't feel so good, and you genuinely want to help them to feel better in any way, or you genuinely feel for them, you feel empathetic, and it's not just like, oh, it's in my head, let me try to help them feel better because this is what I'm supposed to do. You truly viscerally feel this way for them, and that's the flow of prosperity. And I feel also that kind of relationship with ourselves is supremely important, because once we're able to truly empathize with ourselves in that way, we can do that with another person as well. And and touch that place, and that intuitive place.
Yeah, and let's, for just a moment before we actually get started, because we're going to move our bodies, we're going to do some energization exercises to get the life force moving in the body, to make the mind come into a greater space of expansiveness, heart open. And then we're going to do these 2 meditations that are going to be the backbone of the 40-day challenge. And even if you're not doing the 40-day challenge with us, just today even, I think you may feel like, wow, that was worthwhile, cool, and it's going to help my life. And so regardless of whether you're going to do, jump in, which we hope you will, of course, but even if this is the one time you're going to hang out with us, I think you'll find this to be at least fascinating, if nothing else. And so when we talk about money, because money's a real thing, and money's something that we all, if you're a householder, or you live in the world and you're not a renunciate, and many yogic paths have a renunciation pathway to them, or lifestyle to them. This one is not a renunciation path. This is a householder practice, and meaning, so Kundalini Yoga is for people who live in the world, they work in the world, they may very well be married and have sex. They may, having sex being important in this context, because there are some yogic paths that are celibate oriented. This is not. And also, this doesn't mean like, oh, there's some path you have to take either. It's not really that, but I'm giving you some context of where this is coming from. This is just like, oh, this could be a cool exercise / meditation system that I add to my life that will improve everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean like you're not getting a new job necessarily. It's like, oh, my job isn't sometimes your job isn't your purpose, but your job is important for your purpose. And those are different things, because your job is generating the resources you need in your life to do whatever it is that you're here to do. And I really emphasize to folks that I don't think it's actually important that you know what your purpose is, because that discovery doesn't happen from an analytical and intellectual space. You are your purpose. It's already here. You are it. Like everything about you, your quirks, the things that you're talented at, the things that you genuinely love from your heart, the things that you dislike, your neuroses, all of that has to do with your purpose, because you were designed for what you are exactly. And so a concept of here's my purpose, like some sort of like mission statement. I don't have a mission statement in that sense. I couldn't, I'm teach, that's my main work. Simrit makes music and that's her main work. But those are vehicles for an energy of prosperity and purpose. They're not the purpose itself. And I think that's really important, because otherwise it can become like a head trip.
Yeah, and we also can become attached too to like,
this is how it's supposed to look.
This is how it's supposed to look. I am a singer, and what happens one day if I can't sing?
Yeah, right.
Am I going to be like,
get depressed?
oh shit, like now I can't I'm not prosperous. Now I'm not myself. Now I don't know who I am. So that's why I really feel a resonance with what Jaideev's saying about that. It's true. It's not, because it's almost like it's a limitation to say, well, I'm a singer, I'm a mother, I'm in this, I'm in that. These are all things that I do in my life that are part of my purpose, like Jaidev said, that fuel my purpose, and that are really important things in my life. But it's not truly who I am, and that's something that's beyond what my mind can even think about or conceive. And I don't, at this point, want to even try, because I'll just give myself a headache in the first place if I do. But, the money thing I do want to mention is yeah, it's important. It's important because it gives us options. It gives us choices. It gives us a sense of relaxation when we have enough for where we are in our lives to pay for a place to live, to pay for food, to pay for transportation, to pay for clothes, to pay for, like being able to go see our parents across the country, to be able to do that. We used to not have the money to do these kinds of things. We used to not even have the money to pay for much food. We had to ration our food. We've been in that place before. So we know what it feels like to have very little money, to be on government subsidy. We've both been there before, together as a couple, as individuals, those kinds of things. And, we know what it feels like to have to live paycheck by paycheck. We know what that's like from firsthand experience. We know what it's like to not have insurance. So we're not coming to you with this lofty thing like prosperity is just, this, and it's so easy, and it's, this and this. We've put in a lot of work. We're still putting in a lot of work. We're still on the journey with you all. And, we just have had experiences in our lives. We've grown some, and we're in a place in our lives where we feel we can share these practices and these experiences and these teachings because we live these teachings, and these teachings are a part of our lives. And they've taught us to not take ourselves so seriously, even though we know that we have so much work to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they've also helped us. We've had people that have done these practices with us, especially these New Year's prosperity practices, and said, hey, we started doing these practices and we've had checks come in the mail, or we found this money, or I got this new job. So there are things like that are happening. It's not like we're discarding the money part of it. The money's important, just like all of it. But we were wanting to articulate that it's a flow of energy.
Yeah, money's not a great measuring stick. That's
Right.
one thing about it. And your level of prosperity is not measured by money, in my opinion. Because of course there's plenty of people with lots of money that are tremendously unhappy. And there's plenty of people with very little to no money that are tremendously happy. And of course, vice versa in both scenarios. So, however, if you desire more money in your life, you have the capacity to generate that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more money. And there is a challenge when money in individual's psyche is negatively contextualized, or an extreme of that is demonized, as if money is the root of all evil and that kind of thing. Money is just a medium. It's not negative and it's not positive. It's a flow of energy and a flow of circulation. A dollar bill is a representation of an energy. The number that you see in your bank account is a representation of an energy. Money itself isn't even real. It's a concept. So recontextualizing your even concept of what money is, I think, is important if it's currently in a limited fashion, or if you discover within yourself that there is a certain poverty consciousness that continues to run itself. It's like a software that is like operating in your operating system, your subconscious and central nervous system, underneath the surface, almost like a virus that's causing challenges, and that's real. That's a definite reality for a lot of people, and particularly a lot of people on spirit who are spiritually oriented. Because who knows why? Because, but one reason why for many people is because we grew up with some sort of religious contextualization that put a negative energy around the flow of money, and so. All right, why? Cool. If you can discover why, that may or may not be useful. Most importantly is, all right, well, let's move forward. Mm-hmm. And if you desire more money in your life, then you can generate more money, but you have to be clear that you want to. And then also, in my encouragement, is to be clear why you want to. And what specifically are the reasons? It may be like really easy. Well, I'm stressed the hell out, and a big part of my stress is because I have a family and I have a mortgage or a rent, and I am barely making it, or I'm not making it, or you don't have the basic resources that you need in order to live. That's a base level. Of course, we need that. But on the other is, what type of resources do you need to comfortably do your dharma in the world, to do your service in the world? Because if money is generated in order to accumulate more pleasure, you can still generate it in that way, but the longer term effect is not going to make you a happier, more blissful person. And that's a dangerous path to take, in my opinion, because once you get down that road, it gains a momentum, and it can be difficult to reverse it, even with good intent. So what I think is really important is to make sure for me that I know that what the central kind of pivot of whatever it is that I'm doing, and the entities that the money is flowing through, and a business is an entity, it's a type of organism, or a household is even, a family is an entity. It has its own type of electromagnetism. It's an organism. So that however we're circulating, and that's how my mentor used to always talk about the flow of money. He said it's a circulation. And if you try to hoard it, it's going to cause you problems. It's going to be like a heavy weight that acts more like a poison than it does an asset to you. And so what we need it to be is an asset to creating a happiness in life, and supporting the dharma of your life, the purpose of your life. So in that sense, the yogic term for that, it's called artha. So first comes dharma, purpose, then comes artha, which is wealth or prosperity. Then after that only comes kama, which is then you can enjoy the pleasures of life. When both dharma and artha come together, that leads into kama in the later years of life. Not that you don't have pleasure all throughout life, but there's certain, when we're young, we're discovering, what am I going to do with my life? And then when we become adults, we start, all right, how am I going to generate resources in my life? And how am I going to kind of activate the dharma of my life? Then as we get a little older, we say, now maybe let's go, see Paris, you know what I mean? And like hang out, and then the final one is called moksha, as you get into the winter of your life, and that means liberation, where now you're very much preparing for the next world, wherever we're going to travel to once we shed these bodies. So, and that is a critical piece, because you can't have a sense of real dharma, purpose, without the continuous reminding, and then eventually continuous awareness that this situation that we're all in together is impermanent, that we're only here for a blink of the eye. And that, and the beauty of that is when we realize that, it's like, it's just, at one level, it's a really big deal. And at another level, it's not that big of a deal. It's simultaneously, this is why you need that intuitive heart, because you can sit inside of paradox, and when you can sit in the middle of paradox, you'll find bliss. It's simultaneously, it's a huge deal. It's crucially important, and at the same time, and even within the same space, it's just not that big of a deal. And that's how you allow things to come to you and in a relaxed, sit in the center of the universe, and simultaneously you're activated, you work hard. And that's the flow of prosperity.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's do some exercises. But first we're going to tune in. And let's now try to like take all that and turn it into like experiential energy. Okay, so we're going to tune in, and I know we have lots of people here today, and I know that many of you are longtime, practitioners, or you've done some Kundalini yoga before, and some of you this is your first time trying it out. Perfect for everyone. We're going to tune in, and if it's your first time trying it out, you might be like, all right, okay, whatever that is, and cool. Like, I don't think it's all how you always start a practice, and it is important. But why it's important, we'll explain later. If you want to jump in for this 40-day challenge inside the Life Force Academy, you'll learn all about all the nuts and bolts, how to do all this stuff. But for today, it's not worth spending our time on that. Let's just do it. Do as much as you can, and when any of the exercises you need to relax, or I can't quite do that one, or I have some physical limitation, just relax, modify it, or meditate, whatever. There's no real requirements for any of this. Can you breathe? That's your one requirement for this practice. And so if it resonates with you, once this is all closed up today, then you can learn all that stuff, and we're happy to give you everything you need to learn whatever you want to learn. Okay, so for now we're going to tune in. So please bring your hands into prayer pose. And sometimes it's nice to warm the hands up a little bit because they're working out with life force energy. It's like a certain type of subtle electricity. And you press the palms as if you're, coordinating the left and the right brain hemispheres, which you are. There's a gentle pressure, the thumbs into the sternum, the chest lifted, shoulder blades released back, chin is ever so slightly tucked in. And then to the best as you can, relax your gaze into that third eye area where the two eyebrows would meet with the eyes closed down. And then take a deep inhalation in through the nose, and then exhale through the nose. And a few of those we're inhaling deeply. Suspend the breath for a moment, and draw your gaze into your third eye area, and then exhale. Inhale. Suspend the breath. Open the chest. Third eye is the gaze. And exhale. Inhale deeply. Suspend. Third eye gaze. And be still. And exhale. And now let your breath just flow naturally, organically. Keep the posture. And relax your gaze into your third eye area. And in a moment, we're going to tune in using the sounds Ong, which vibrates your frontal lobe and pituitary gland. Ong. And then Namo, Namo, which vibrates in the center of the chest, your heart center, the thymus gland. And then Gurudev, Gurudev, which the navel comes in and it lifts your life force up through the spine. Gurudev, and it's an uplifted energy. It lifts the spirit. Namo, it always ends at the heart center. Inhale deep. Exhale. And to tune in, inhale deep. Om.
Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Namo.
Exhale. Beautiful. That's great. All right. Sometimes even just that, I feel like we've done a good job. Okay, so we're going to start moving the body now. Most of these exercises you can do actually sitting in a chair if you're not able to sit like us on the floor. If you're on the floor, feel free to use a cushion to kind of prop yourself up. And we're going to begin spinal flexes. So your hands come to your ankles or shins, and you're going to, it's just simple like this. Inhale through the nose. The breath is always through the nose unless otherwise we say. And it's just inhale forward. Inhale lifting the chest. Exhale back. It's a nice rhythm for it, but if that feels too quick for you, just go slower. It's not trying to create a maximum stretch. It's just making a suppleness of the spine. And it's the prana, life force, moving in and out. Inhale, exhale. Positive, negative. It's a neutralization of the psyche, which creates meditative awareness. So your eyes close, and the third eye is the gaze, and you keep going.
In meditation forever, quiet peace cannot be found.
Keep the gaze relaxed into the third eye space. Keep going with the breath. Deeper the breathing now. It's not a very long breath, but it's kind of deep, strong breath. Just kind of ride the rhythm. Keep going.
And the hungry will stay hungry as they watch their food.
Now, in about 25 seconds, we're all going to inhale deeply, and then when we do that, we're going to just keep the eyes closed and go into a meditative stillness together.
Will still return when we meet there. And we return when we meet there.
Now deeply inhale.
Where is the purity?
Suspend the breath.
Where is the purity?
Keep the gaze into the third eye. Lift now through the rectum, sex organ, navel area, up and in.
Where is the purity?
And be still.
Where is the purity in the labyrinth of falsehood?
And exhale. Take your hands to your shoulders. So. And the heart is open. The root lock, your core is engaged. And you're going to inhale left, exhale right. Close the eyes, and your focal point is the breath and the flow of energy in your body and mind. If distracting thoughts arise, acknowledge them, and then move on. Try not to focus on any of them, and keep bringing the attention to the breath, the music, the flow of the energy.
Where is the purity? Where is the purity in the labyrinth of falsehood? Where is the purity? Where is the purity in the labyrinth of falsehood?
Now deeper the breath, continue opening these spinal channels.
Where is the purity in the labyrinth of falsehood? Where is the purity?
center your deepest inhale. And lift up through the perineum, rectum, sex organ. And draw your gaze between the two eyebrows and go into a meditative stillness. Exhale. Hands to your knees. And inhale up, exhale, release like a... Every exhale, let the shoulder blades drop. Every exhale, let the stress release, upper back, neck, shoulder. It can also be that double time of that, like meditative gaze. Squeeze up the shoulders. Squeeze out the tension. And exhale. Really great. Now very gentle neck rolls. Keep the jaw relaxed, mouth slightly open. Very relaxed. Mind relaxed. These exercises are really perfect for what they generate, and this is why, like, at its essence, once we really understand what we mean by prosperity, at its essence, Kundalini Yoga is a prosperity generating technology, because it brings you into that space where you're simultaneously relaxed and active. And now other direction. So, and that's why the way we want to practice, whether we're doing these, more aggressive exercises or more relaxed exercises, that the mind stays relaxed. You may be very active with the body in an exercise, but the disposition is relaxed. And that starts to train the psyche on how to be relaxed and active at the same time, which is a requirement for a real bliss, genuine bliss, not some fluffy idea of bliss. Okay, inhale, center, and exhale. Okay, a couple more of these, and then we're gonna do our we say meditations. You'll see they're very cool, and they're like active. They're like transporting kriyas is what we call them, and kriya means like an action that creates an effect. And so what we're going to be doing here now is a breath of fire. All the music we play is from Simrat, and this is the stuff I'm playing so far is from her new album. You can get all her albums on Spotify, but then there's incredible music that she and her band have created that are for really meditation and yogic purposes more than anything, but they're also just dope and great to just play in the house or wherever. And that type of, you'll hear an example of that when we do our meditations. Those are reserved and exclusively available in the Life Force Academy. So that's another benefit of being a part of the Life Force Academy, is you have access to that type of the Simrat recordings that aren't available anywhere else, and they're amazing. They're amazing in a different way than the albums.
Yeah, they are amazing, and my band is amazing, so it's a big part of what we do here is the music too. So yeah, it's exciting to share all this with y'all.
So here we go with this. We're going to be doing a breath of fire. Ladies, if you're on your moon period right now or pregnant, when we're doing breath of fire, do a long deep breath through the nose instead, like a... Okay? And otherwise, in this case, you're what we're going to do is we're going to start with a panting breath, and that'll eventually move into a breath of fire. But starting with the Gyan Mudra, this is Jupiter, which is your prosperity in your wisdom, and that connects to your thumb, and your thumb is your identity. These are like antennas. It's the way energy flows and moves. So you connect your index to your thumb, and palms are facing up on the knees, and chest is lifted. And this is wonderful for the immune system, especially this type of year. You're going to stick your tongue out, and it's going to be just like a dog panting. Inhale and push the under tongue of on the roof of your mouth, underside of your tongue, roof of the mouth, and then squeeze your spine tight. Tight. And exhale. And inhale again. Under tongue, roof of the mouth, press it, and then squeeze the spine tight. Exhale. One more time. Inhale deep. Under tongue, roof of the mouth. Squeeze it tight. Exhale. Now this time we'll start the same way, tongue out, and then it's like a... Then just close your mouth, do it through the nose. And go still. And exhale. Beautiful. If you didn't like to stretch your legs out and take a sip of water. Ganjala Name. This mantra, it brings you into the space of timelessness. It's translated like salutations to the infinite, the energy, the infinite energy that permeates all things. Salutations to that.
Which
Whi-
has no name.
which has no name,
Yeah.
and which lives in the center of all beings. That's what it translates as. Its effect, chanting it or listening to it in a meditative space, helps to draw you. That's why this music is so powerful in a non-ordinary sense, because the energy of the music, especially when done really well, as Simrit and her crew does, it has a similar and sometimes the same effect on your life force as if you were doing some sort of meditation practice. It brings the mind and the heart into this expansive space where it's like, that's what I'm all about, you know? And so it's very powerful.
Yeah, I wanted to say, to add to what Jaidev said, it's that energy of courtship. That's what this music does. It brings you into that space, the courtship with yourself, with the infinite, with people. It's like this, especially this chant. When I wrote the music for this, when I was reading the Gurumukhi and wrote the music for this, that's what I felt like I was welcoming the infinite in all its forms, because that's what it is. It's in everything. So welcoming it in all its forms. So there's that courtship, you know. So yeah, it's beautiful like that. It'll bring you into that space.
It's mantric poetry, and like this mantra is a thread. A thread is like a sutra that came out of a great master named Guru Gobind Singh that lived in like medieval times in northern India. It was like an illuminated warrior being, but they were able to like write these like just tremendous poems, but not just a poem, but a poem where the actual sound current has the effect of whatever the poem is kind of insinuating is not the right word, but kind of like the word is evoking. All right, so one more exercise, and then we're going to do our main prosperity meditations that we'll be doing each and every day during the 40 days. So here's, let's roll this one again. This is a 3-minute exercise. Within this 3 minutes, there may be a point where it's like, I want to drop out. Try not to, because you're going to hit a point where you might feel like you can't keep going. See if you can. And even for me, I do this one every day. At some point, I always hit a threshold point where it's not hard for me anymore. It won't be hard for you either if you do it consistently. But there's still a point that I hit a threshold where I feel there's a little bit of like pressure in the spinal area, and then I keep going, and that opens up, and the flow of energy increases, and by the time I finish it, there's a great sense of expansiveness, a lightness. It's subtle, but it's very real and powerful. And that's why they call it, it's called an aura charge, is the kind of cute name for it. All right, are you ready? So you're gonna bring your thumbs out like this. Fingers are tucked, but thumbs are out. And the arms come up to 60 degrees. Shoulder blades release down the back. Third eye is the gaze. Inhale deep. Breath of fire. gaze, third eye, between the two eyebrows. Powerful breath, relaxed mind. Charge the energy system of the body with the breath. Now continue, and as you continue, visualize a beautiful, brilliant, golden white light connecting the two thumbs. And deeper the concentration, the brighter and the stronger it becomes. Now visualize your whole spinal area through the center of your body as a beam of a brilliant light, a golden white light, a living light. It's an intelligence and a love intelligence. And now visualize that spinal beam emanating a field of beautiful energy outward from the center of your being in every direction, infinitely outward, infinitely behind you, purifying the past, infinitely forward, opening the future, up into the heavens, down into the earth, expand as far as you can imagine, expand. Now inhale deep, and thumb tips come touching. Fingers open wide and fingers tight like steel. Release the shoulder blades down the back. Lift up through the perineum, rectum, sex organ, and gaze into the third eye. Hold the position and exhale. Now deeper inhale. Under tongue, roof of the mouth. Release the shoulder blades. Lift through the root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel. Gaze into your third eye. Hold the position, exhale. One more time, inhale. Extend up, fingers tight, gaze up. Stretch, stretch. And slowly sweep the arms and relax. And come into a meditative posture. Close the eyes. Sit in the center of everything. Allow everything to come to you. Don't go after anything. Have another sip of water. Stretch your legs out if you wish. We're about to begin. We're going to explain both of these meditations because for this 40-day challenge, this is the 5th annual prosperity challenge we're doing. And we do several of these 40-day challenges per year. And this particular one, so the way the 40-day challenge works is that there's 3 primary pillars of the 40-day challenge. And the first pillar, the main pillar, is you have the practice, meditation practice that you're doing each day. And most of the time you're just doing it on your own at home at the time that works for you. And that's what we're about to do, those meditations. The second pillar is that once a week we're going to have a live broadcast just like this, where both of us, or perhaps occasionally one of us, will be doing this. We'll be doing it together. And throughout the whole 40 days, we're unpacking, we're going into, because this isn't just about doing meditation exercises and just leaving it at that. it's about really discovering the energy of prosperity. And that means getting inside of it, going into the teachings, and because the way to stay consistent, and the hardest thing is not the exercises, the hardest thing is consistency. And so the way to stay consistent is to keep the mind connected to the bigger reasons of why I'm doing this in the first place. It's going to be exciting for the first, week or so, or at least first few days. And then that excitement's going to wear off. The honeymoon phase of the 40 days is over. It takes 40 days to change habits. And that's why it's a 40-day challenge. And so once that honeymoon wears off, all right, now it feels maybe like a chore at first. And well, we want it to remain, as Simrat said, a courtship. And so that's why once a week, even if you can't attend live, please attend the replay each week, so that you maintain connected to the soul and the love and the courtship of the whole thing, and the bigger reasons why we're doing this. And then that's the second pillar, the live broadcast. And the third pillar is really in the same spirit for the same reasons as the live broadcast, is we have a brand new yoga class series that's coming out, and they're 90-minute classes, and those get released. I've just recently finished teaching this series. It's in this, again, in the same thread of prosperity. It's full 90-minute yoga classes. You're going to move your body, you're going to exercise good, you're going to go into great meditative spaces. And so once a week we release a new class in that series, all through the 40-day challenge. So those are the three pillars. And that's how it works. And then in addition to that, there's depending on whether you're brand new or, I've been practicing for a little bit of time, or I'm a long-time practitioner, there's 3 levels that you can practice at. And that'll essentially be you deciding, all right, how much time am I going to spend on this? How do I set myself up for success? It could literally be just like less than 10 minutes a day, up to, more like, the meditations being 22 minutes per day. And so each of these meditations, the maximum, there's 2 of them, the maximum time for both of them is 11 minutes. Some of you may choose to just do 3 minutes of the first and 3 minutes of the second. And some of you may choose like 7 minutes of the first and 7 minutes of the second. And some of you may choose 11 minutes of the first one and 11 minutes of the second meditation. And so that's the we call it the prosperity level, 3 and 3, radiance level, and then warrior level would be 11 and 11. And you should just do whatever intuitively feels like, that's the right fit for me. So today, we're going to do 11 minutes of the first one, and just do the best you can. It's difficult if you've never done it before. It may be difficult. It may not be. For me, first time I did it, it was difficult. And sometimes even nowadays it's difficult. Just depends on the day. And then we're going to do 3 minutes of the second meditation. All right, so let's go through both meditations right now. We love these.
Yeah, this is my favorite I always say that every year because I really do love it, because the movement is fun for me, the feeling of it. I just love I just love it. And I love the effect that happens. I feel amazing after. Yeah, and at some point during the meditation or during the Kriya, I start to feel like really elevated too. I just really resonate with this one.
Yeah, and for time purposes, there's only so much I can unpack with these meditations today and tell you how to do them, give you a sense of like what their effects are and how they work. But we'll be unpacking. This isn't stuff to like, in just like one sitting we're going to like understand how this all works. We'll be unpacking it throughout the whole 40 days. And even then, this is 40-day challenge is just a starting point, really. So the first meditation is called To Clarify the Subtle Body. And the subtle body is the part of the yogis describe it as that at the time of death, the subtle body is like a thin skin or sheath that carries the soul, the part of us that never dies. And so, to make it very simple, anytime you're developing subtlety in your life, you're getting a deeper connectivity to the soul energy. of you, the non-dying part of you, which is the most powerful part of you. That's what gives you true radiance, true brilliance, true prosperity. And so anything we're doing to create subtlety, and even that can be like, all right, refinement of speech, refinement of manners and behavior, and like, I didn't realize I was acting like a dick all this time. And now as I realize it makes me a little more refined. And so on a even more subtle level, when we're talking about the subtle body, we're talking about an aspect of the psyche that is able to perceive what may not be ordinarily perceived in a normal kind of thinking mode. So the subtle mind, the subtle body, brings you into this space where you're able to perceive reality in a way that we may not have been able to do so before, because it's what is this meditation exercise doing? It's purifying the density. And the only thing between you and prosperity is really, in a certain simple way of saying it, is whatever the density of the subconscious that is obstructing my perception and obstructing my heart. And so how this meditation works is you're going to be, to the rhythm of this mantra, you're going to be inhaling through an O-shaped mouth, and then you're going to exhale through an O-shaped mouth. And it's very powerful. So your mouth is puckered in an O shape. And so if you hear the mantra rhythm, HUD, and this is the prosperity penetrative mantra, you're going to go like that. Just like Simmert's doing. Like that. And so when you come up, your left hand rests on top of your right. When you come down, the hands rest above the knees. Okay? Your eyes are closed in the third eye, and it'll be just like that, like... And that's all there is to this one. At the very end, I'll guide you through it. It will inhale. You'll interlock your hands like this and stretch up and suspend the breath, and then gently stretch around, extending up and gently stretching around. And then through the mouth, we'll exhale. We'll do that 3 times. But I'll guide you through all this as we're going, okay? So that's the meditation number 1. It's incredible. Its effects are incredible. When our teacher taught it, he said, you'll be so shiny and bright, people won't be in a position to look at your face. And all right, the second meditation is the most famous. There's a lot of, I said Kundalini Yoga is in general prosperity technology, but there are specific practices within Kundalini Yoga that are specifically for prosperity, generating the energy of prosperity. And this is of all of those, which there are many, this is the most famous and perhaps most important. And so what you're doing is not difficult, but it still does take concentration. So you're hitting the fleshy side of your palms together, and then you're going to be hitting the index fingers, Jupiter fingers, together. When you hit the index fingers, Jupiter fingers together, the right thumb crosses under your left. Okay, I'll remind you of all this once we're doing it. But once we get into this, I want to travel into the meditative zones, and I don't want to stop and have to go back into analytic mode again. So in this meditation, you're going to be striking, because this is the side of the palms is a moon center, and the index fingers is the Jupiter. And the yogis say when the moon and Jupiter come together, there's no way in the world you won't create prosperity. He said 3 minutes a day is all you need. He said more than 3 minutes a day while you're working is too much, because he said you'll generate too much energy in terms of prosperity. He said 11 minutes a day maximum. He said beyond that it's greedy. And so what you're going to be doing, take all this in a certain way. You take it with I don't mean take it with a grain of salt and like belittling the teachings, not at all. But what I mean is, all of this you want to verify with your own experience. Not that I just like listen to something. That's all right, that's what it is. That's not how we operate. we try everything out, you know, but you do have to give it a big enough sample size. Doing it 2 or 3 times, or even honestly, even doing 40 days, you know, you got to give this stuff time to really. Anything that works at a substantive, deep level, it works a little more slowly, because we want stuff that's going to stick around and stabilize. So substantive stuff don't happen just like that.
You're creating new, basically like neural pathways in the brain. You're changing the body chemistry and things like that. And although you can change the chemistry of the brain in just a few minutes by doing these meditations, because you're going to be releasing different kinds of hormones and things like that through the glandular system, it still does, you're creating new habits, and that's what this is all about. And it doesn't happen in just like 3 minutes. I mean, you got to give it some time and some effort and some energy and some consistency. So this is what we're all about. We're all about creating new supportive habits that bring in prosperity. So let's do it.
Like Sumit said, it will create the change on impact immediately. You'll experience it.
Yeah, you feel
it's
it.
undeniable.
Yeah, you feel it.
But what creates the change in terms of the outer circumstances?
Yeah.
That you have to stabilize those effects, because you might create that. It's like, but it's gonna go. So then in the next day, go again. It's gonna go. But when it's going, it's not going all the way back, you know? That's why every day, so it might drop, instead of starting here, now you're starting here. Then the next day it's going, and so it's like a baby steps, but trust me, a few months down the road of baby steps, you'll look back and you'll be, I can't believe
how far I've gotten, because you just keep doing it. Yeah. It's really cool.
It actually works super quick, but it's not like some like fake instantaneous, oh great, now I'm prosperous. That's not how life works, you know. But relative to anything that I know of, it works very quickly. All right, so let's do them, okay? In that second meditation, this one that we're going to do for 3 minutes, eyes will be relaxed onto the tip of your nose.
So that means they're open and they're looking at the tip of the nose. And a good way to get into that is to take your index finger, take it out here, bring it to the tip of your nose, and look at that place, just like that. And if you feel a little pressure, which you might, sometimes you feel it in your forehead, temple area, sometimes in this third eye point that we talk about between the brows, that's pretty normal. I've never gotten a headache from it, but I have felt pressure and stuff like that. But don't worry, you're not doing any harm. That's a good thing. You're stimulating the pituitary gland and opening that up. So, and a lot of people's is calcified, and so it will feel like that a little bit, but that's a good thing. So we're opening that up, we're stimulating that, and it's good. So eyes are open at the tip of the nose like this.
That's in the second exercise, and again, I'll remind you of that when we do it. Okay, so for this first one, we're gonna do 11 minutes, and again, it's the same as I was talking earlier with the aura charge. There's that threshold that's going to happen. You're going to hit a point where you don't feel like you can keep going. Breathe deeper at that point. Keep going. That will open the whole field up. That pressure is a good pressure. That resistance is needed to pop open into another space. O-shaped mouth. Puckered mouth. Inhaling as the hands come up. Exhaling as the hands come down to the rhythm of the mantra. exhale. Use your diaphragm and navel to force the breath out like a cannon fire. Deep inhale, powerful exhale.
The navel comes in.
The navel comes in as you exhale. Deeper the breath now, more powerful the exhale now. Purify the field and expand. Spinal centers with the breath. Third eye gaze to direct the life force into the intuitive center. Inhale, interlock the hands, stretch up, release the shoulder blades down the back, lift through the rectum, sex organ, navel, and then stretch around. Hold the position like a cannon through your mouth, exhale. Inhale, release the shoulder blades, touch the knuckles up to the ceiling, lift through the root lock, stretch, and stretch around. Exhale. Final time. Inhale. Root lock is lifted. Stretch. Exhale. Maintain the meditative zone. You'll draw the eyes towards the tip of the nose. in this meditation we'll be chanting the mantra Hara. It's usually written as H-A-R, transliterated, and it sounds more like a H-U-D, almost a Hara. The tip of the tongue strikes the upper palate. That causes the effect on your pineal and pituitary glands. Tip of the nose gaze, and as we chant, you'll be striking the sides of the hands, moon centers, and Jupiter fingers. Right thumb crosses under the left. And from your navel chant, with every repetition of the mantra, the navel draws in, and the tip of the tongue strikes your upper palate.
Hud, 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 hud. Tip of the nose gaze. Eyes are open at the tip of the nose. Hud, 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 hud,
Hypnotically chant like a courtship. Meditatively sit in the center of everything and let anything that is needed for your life to be drawn towards you. For the coming year, decade, for your family, and for those you're here to serve. Vibrate prosperity. Inhale deeply and exhale. And that's really what there is to it, you know. What if you're doing that every day for 40 days and at the end you sit like that, vibrate, let things be drawn towards you, set yourself for the day, and then you like operate from this space. It's pretty awesome. Beautiful. It's a beautiful way of living, blissful way of living. So, you know, I think we've unpacked it pretty well. We've hit our 90-minute mark. And now what we want to just do is encourage you to jump in for the 40-day challenge. If you're already a member of the Life Force Academy, then there's nothing you need to do but go over to the 40-day challenge page in the Life Force Academy and watch the video that just explains everything you need to know. It's very simple. It's very easy. Anyone can do this. And if you're new to this, then and you want to jump in for the 40-day challenge, which starts in just a few days. Our first day is Sunday. We're going to do a live broadcast at noon Pacific time on the first day, and to get us rolling. And really all you got to do is attend that, and you'll know, you essentially you just do what we just did. Every day at whatever time, and in the academy there's the audio and the video, if you want to use a video or audio, for whatever time you decide to do. And so if you're doing the first level, there's the video for that, and etc. Second level, third level. It's really easy. We do everything we can to make it like turnkey, simple, quick, and practical. And our hope, of course, is you'll do the 40-day challenge, and then you'll be like, this is awesome. I'm going to keep going, because in the Life Force Academy, there's endless yoga classes, the music, so many practices, meditations. You'll be a part of our forum if you want to be, where you can connect and communicate with people in the academy from all over the world. That's a private Facebook group. And it's a real cool experience. And so our hope is after this 40-day challenge, you'll be like, keep going. And but let's start with the 40-day challenge. So if you're not a member yet of the Life Force Academy, you can click on this page here, and that'll take you. It's just $1 to try it out, and you get a 2-week try for $1. So that's what it takes to join. And then after 2 weeks, it is only $25 a month. So it's like much less than 2 yoga classes if you went to a yoga studio. And of course, you can cancel anytime if you get in there and it's not really for me. You can, of course, cancel anytime. But if you love it and you get in there, and it'll just bill you once a month, $25. We have an amazing support team. If you have any questions, you can just email support@jaidevsingh.com. Or respond to any of the emails we've sent you. And that's essentially how it works.
That's it. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Yeah. And the way that it takes you through practices, like Jaidev was saying, is so practical and easy. All you have to do is click a button and you're in. And we created it to be practical, easy, and for you to get a lot of bang for your buck. So I think that's like the biggest thing, because I want a lot of bang for my buck. So that's why I do Kundalini yoga in the first place. And that's why I do these kinds of meditations, because I don't have many hours in the day to do meditation all day. And I want to have it be a part of my life and help me create changes in my life. And Kundalini yoga is designed to do just that. And so that's what the academy does, is it facilitates a consistent practice so that you can create the changes that you want in your life in a very timely fashion, like really quickly. It's just really practical.
But also not like timely, practical, but like fresh, you know, and substantive, and no fluff, but also no dogma.
Yeah.
And you know, we've worked really hard in our lives to exist in that space, and so we want to invite you to be a part of this New Year's Prosperity Challenge. What a way that would begin a 2020, a new decade, is to be doing this every day together. And even if you missed a day, it's like, okay, keep going anyways. Who cares, you know? I mean, of course we care. We try to hit 40 days, boom, success, feel amazing. But what happens, sometimes people miss a day and then they just quit. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense. So, because I missed a day, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, totally.
like, the idea is to just develop a thing that you love. And you may not like it sometimes. It's like, I'm going to do this thing. That's real. That's just real. But that's different than a love. And it's a love because it gives so much, and it helps me so much, and it's given so much to my life that it's a love affair. Don't always like it, but I always love it.
Awesome.
All
yeah,
right.
y'all. See ya soon.
Well, we're going to close the
Glad you came. Glad you joined us. Glad we're all here together, and we look forward to the 40-day challenge with everyone together. It's really fun because we're all feeling the group energy even when we're online and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that.
All right, so we're going to seal the experience today, and bring your hands into the prayer pose and send some love out to your family, to your friends, to all beings everywhere.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. 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 Satnam.
I didn't know. Like, were we doing 3?
We were both waiting on each other. All right, Satnam friends, thanks so much,
Satnam.
and see you in the 40-day challenge, I hope, and thanks everybody.
Nice to see y'all.
Lots of love. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
But you're wired somehow. You have a certain way of existing that is absolutely natural and skillful for you. It's you're talented in that way. It's how your heart expresses itself. It's how you get inside of love, and how love expresses itself uniquely through you.
If you have a mind, you have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.